Well, we've had a lot of tropical developments over the past 24 hours, so let's go ahead and break it down piece by piece. We're going to go ahead and start by looking at the whole outlook. I'm just going to mention that we have Hurricane Kirk. This is expected to continue to weaken and move over to the east, actually going to impact areas of Europe as a tropical system. Moving further down, just off the coast of Africa, we have this area of development. Slim chances of development as of right now, but this hasn't changed too much over the last couple of days over the course of the weekend. Only a 30% chance of development over the next 7 days, but this would become the fourth named storm that we do have out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean if it is to get its act together. Now taking a look at Hurricane Leslie. This formed just after Hurricane Kirk and maintaining Category 1 status right now, still forecasted to go up into the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and simply be a fish storm and not impact any land masses. But going over to the area that we are most concerned about, we have Hurricane Milton, and yes, you can see this has drastically changed category wise since yesterday, so it has strengthened from a Category 1 all the way up to a Category 4 hurricane, a very high-end Category 4 hurricane. But showing you all these storms to reference that this is the first time ever in the Atlantic hurricane season that we've had 3 named hurricanes in the month October or later in hurricane season. So we did have a little bit of a late start to hurricane season, but now continuing to be in full swing. We had a Helene about a week and a half ago, and now another major hurricane expected to make landfall on the Florida peninsula. So as it stands right now, Hurricane Milton, 150-mile-an-hour sustained winds, a central pressure of 940 millibars, and you can see that this is going to maintain that Category 4 status as it treks through the warm waters of the southern Gulf of Mexico. And we're expecting some gradual weakening before Milton does make landfall down into a Category 3, but still major hurricane status as it does make landfall. We'll take a look at some of the timestamps. You can see that this timestamp right here, Thursday at 2 a.m., that is when Milton is going to weaken into a Category 1 storm, but going to make landfall as a Category 3 shortly before sometime Wednesday evening, just before dinner time. And Milton going to continue to cross that Florida peninsula and then weaken into an extratropical cyclone out into the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. But right now, yes, it has definitely undergone very rapid intensification over the past couple of hours. Since 2 a.m. this morning, Milton has gained wind speeds of about 60 miles an hour. It was at 90 miles an hour, now up to 150, and the pressure has dropped significantly, about 35 millibars over the course of this time period. Taking a look at our watches and warnings, we do have a couple areas already outlined in tropical storm watches and warnings. This is going to be on that western side of Florida, and also it briefly popped up a hurricane warning on the Yucatan Peninsula. That's where Milton is going to first impact over the course of about the next 24 hours or so. And yes, it does definitely have very high-end Category 4 winds as of right now. So people on the Yucatan Peninsula definitely need to go ahead and be putting their hurricane plan into action. Now we're taking it over to our future view here in central Georgia. We just dealt with the impacts of Helene just a week and a half ago. So are we expecting any impacts from Milton? Well, I did just show you that cone, and it did have a landfall anywhere from about Crystal River on the western side of Florida all the way down to southwest Florida around the Marco Island area. Anywhere in between there is where we're looking at that center of circulation to go over. Well, the good news here in central Georgia, we do have a frontal boundary that's approaching sometime tomorrow night. And what that's going to do, it's going to push all of that moisture and really kind of block Milton from having any impacts here in central Georgia. The only thing we're seeing right now, according to our future view model, the graph model, which handled the path of Helene very well as it moved through central Georgia, we're just seeing really just some increased cloud cover as we go throughout the afternoon and evening hours on Wednesday. Maybe a little bit of an increase in some shower chances, but still, we're just going to be dealing with the outermost bands associated with Milton as it does stand right now. But a couple of headlines to kind of sum up what Milton is doing right now. Like I said, rapidly intensified from a Category 1 to a high-end Category 4 over the course of about 7 hours. So yes, Hurricane Milton is definitely a monster storm as of right now. Landfall is going to be anywhere from about the Crystal River area all the way down to Marco Island. So this still encompasses areas like the Tampa Bay area, St. Petersburg, and other areas like Fort Myers. So we're still trying to fine-tune exactly where Milton will make landfall, but increased clouds and maybe some showers are the only impacts we're looking at here in central Georgia. Now, obviously, if Milton is to make landfall a little bit north in that cone, kind of around the Crystal River area, we would definitely be dealing with some increased rain chances. But right now, as it stands, the graph model really has been good at handling these tropical systems over the course of hurricane season thus far. So we are continuing to kind of buy what that is saying, and it's really just some increased cloud cover and some breezy conditions. Obviously, this is a large hurricane of major hurricane status as of right now at a Category 4. So Milton is definitely going to have a pretty large wind field associated with it, but still, anyone down in the western end of the Florida Peninsula or anywhere on the peninsula of Florida, you guys need to be taking your preparations now and going ahead and heeding any warnings, evacuations, or advisories that the state does give you. But right now, it is only looking like Milton is going to maintain major hurricane status before it does make landfall. And right now, winds only about 6 miles an hour shy of Category 5 status. So we very well could see Milton jump on up to a Category 5, which would actually be the second hurricane this year that would get Category 5 status. The first one being Beryl very, very early in hurricane season. This is something we're going to continue to watch closely here in central Georgia, but also continue to see what the impacts are going to be in Florida. And I know it's the last thing that we definitely want to be talking about, but everyone needs to go ahead and be making those last minute preparations now and heeding any warnings given to you by the state of Florida.